You can't throw a pun, like you find out someone died and then make a pun joke.
She didn't just die.
Oh, God. Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, a show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we may know about the future run of that show, rate and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about Dweebs. Dweebs went 10 episodes with only one season on CBS. Here we're talking about episode 1. It's called Pilot, originally airing September 22nd, 1995. To get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me as always, the boys, Joe, Berg, and Nick Nogoro. Yeah. AKA Nick Nogoro this week. But if Spotify's going to say that anyways, might as well lean into it.
Would you call this floppy? Guys, this show went 42 days. I know it's like not against the show. We'll talk about
42
it. 42
episodes? Or
No, 42 days. Its lifespan
Okay.
was 42 days. And I always laugh when it's like, this show ran from late September to early November. You're like, that's such a sad...
See, that's surprising. I didn't hate this show. I mean, this wasn't a great show, but
I hate this show.
I don't think it was that like quick cancel.
I think there's enough meat on the bone to go a little long. I mean, I have to see what it was up against. Out of the 10 episodes, by the way, only 7 aired. There were 3 unaired episodes. So
Can we find the other 3? Are all 10 on YouTube? I watched
I'd
the
have
first
to
one
double
on YouTube.
check.
Probably in Australia.
yeah, Australia loves airing everything.
I will say this, though, speaking about quality of the episode, right? So I watched this on YouTube. I think it was the same version you had on the drive, Jay. And there's a scene where I was like, is he wearing a Winnie the Pooh t-shirt? And it was so bad, I couldn't tell if he was wearing a Winnie the Pooh t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, that's how fuzzy the actual video is.
Yeah, no, I
I'm like,
ripped it right off of YouTube. So if anyone wants to watch along, you can go ahead and watch it on YouTube. That's the only way you're going to be able to see that.
We scream into the void in every episode like this, but like, just fucking throw this shit on a streamer. This is an incredibly stacked cast of a comedy show full of people want to see. And now with the IT crowd and Big Bang Theory, you think this could find an audience? Like, it would cost you nothing to put it on your fucking streamer.
Nobody wants to pay residuals to fucking Corey Feldman for a show like this.
Well, I would say right now, like with timing being what it is, like Corey Feldman's like kind of like the hot topic right now. Like there's like a new documentary.
Yeah, but for the wrong reasons.
Doesn't matter. It's like you still have content.
Yeah, you still strike while there's any hot iron, right? And
When the interest is there. And I do want to say this before we get any further. This is January week 2. This pick was by Leanne. Leanne's messaged us a few times, actually. She's been a pretty loyal listener for the last year plus and has recommended this show a while back and a few others. So glad to finally get that done and glad you picked this, Leanne. Thank you. She's posted us a few times. So thank you for all the support. But yeah, the show, IMDb 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes is a little weird. The tomato meter, the critic score, 100, but only 5 reviews. So
Interesting.
yeah, really weird. And yeah.
I will say this. If you're going on just the show premise, to ask, like, if you're bored tomorrow and you're talking to somebody who's never seen the show, just say, would you watch a show that was this? And explain the premise. I did that to my wife. I just said, this is what this show is about. And she was like, that sounds funny. I'd watch that. I think that's why the people who watch it like it.
Was the answer, oh, it sounds just like the IT crowd, only not funny.
No, because she's never seen the IT crowd. But, you know, if you say the premise, though, and I would say similarly, though, if you say the same thing to the IT crowd, if no one's seen it, you'd be like, would you watch that? They would say yes. I think this is, I mean, the success, obviously, of The Big Bang Theory, which is a show that I fucking loathe. I think there are people who watch that show every day still. That show gets insane ratings in syndication. As a wrestling nerd thing, whenever you hear like people talking about the ratings of wrestling, you always hear about the lead-in of wrestling, because on TBS, Big Bang Theory does such big numbers that there's actually a carryover of people who just don't change the channel for a few minutes. It's fucking crazy.
When it doesn't air, AEW's ratings drop by 20%. And that's
so funny. Like, what a weird thing to lead into, like, especially in a world with streaming, right? Like, I don't even have terrestrial cable anymore. Like, who knows, you know?
So I was thinking about Big Bang Theory specifically recently because when we leave the dog home alone, we just throw something on the TV to, keep the sound going. And the
You mean you put on AEW and he's like, no, change it. This is no good. Oh, it's terrible.
Throwing on Big Bang Theory. And then I would catch myself just sitting there and watching it for a while. It's the fast food of sitcoms. It's not good. Objectively, it's not good, right? But there's something about it that like kind of draws you to it. And you can get stuck watching an episode even though you don't like the show. I don't hate the show like you guys seem to for some reason. I don't know why you hate it so much. I think it can be funny. I don't love the show, though. But I will get stuck watching it if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing.
Have you ever watched the clips? I think we've talked about it, but when they play it without the
laugh track.
Yeah.
So awkward.
I like people on that show, too. And Johnny Galecki, we're just coming off the Christmas season, right? Like, star of one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. The show, I find it to be completely charmless.
And then also, just to compare it to other shows, too, I was getting, like, shades of Silicon Valley as well.
That's another big one, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's like those two shows, like, mixed together, Silicon Valley and the IT Crowd.
Yeah, because this one was more like them built around, like, making apps and stuff like that. So kind of like, I felt like the comparison there. But obviously that being a multicam, very different and way better of a show. A show that I think we could do. I think that's like, it rides the line of sitcom.
I think the episodes are an hour.
Well, then we can't.
I don't think they are. But I feel like we've had this discussion before, and until right now, I thought we actually did it.
Yeah, it depends how long the first episode is.
But it's definitely not a sitcom, but it's close enough.
I will say, though, this is a piece in the puzzle, though, of, like, modern office. Like, I think you can go back really far, too, right? Like, you can go back to Dick Van Dyke and start this, like, workplace in an office type of sitcom and see how it changes with the generations. If you go from that to a show like The Office, and The Office is so much different in Silicon Valley because the world changed so much in there. Right? Mary Tyler Moore is another good one, right? Like, that's an office in the 70s. And then just how different the work office life is now. I'm surprised nobody has made one that's sort of like a work from home comedy yet, because that seems like, the hybrid work schedule that seems like ripe for like an office type show to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, would you say like in a cluster, like where everyone works together inside like of a home, like kind of like how this starts, or like everyone works remote? A workplace comedy where no one works together. That actually could work. I don't think that exists yet.
No, that works, but then they have to go remote. They have to go into the office every once in a while, right? Because that's kind of what it's turning back into now. And then you have the like weirdness of that era of like people being like, oh, I'm in an office and I can't actually do my work as well because all my stuff is at home and I had to take the train and I'm working less time than I would have. Like, that's kind of a funny predicament we've put ourselves in.
Superstore did an episode like that because of COVID.
Oh, the COVID episode, yeah.
It was not. I mean, I didn't love that season. I don't know if I didn't love it because it wasn't well done, or if it was just like so sick of COVID that I didn't want to hear about it anymore.
I would say that.
I would love to see what like the next generation, the kids who are like kids now, when they go back and watch like old sitcoms, what they'll think of COVID era TV.
Yeah.
Because it'll be something interesting and new to them. With that, like Nick, I think it's a great point. When that stuff came out, we're all just like, I'd rather watch blank TV than be reminded of the world we're living in right now, because it's so fucking depressing,
Well, to jump into this one, because I don't know if there's a lot to talk about, but we'll find out. I'm almost confused when I watch it. Usually I have a pretty good gauge how long it takes to get through it, and this one seemed interesting to me. I'm not quite sure.
Notice one thing in this that we'll get into, and I'm not to do a tangent early, but Stephen Tobolowsky is so much taller than I thought he was. He's never seemed like he was crazy tall.
You didn't know he was tall?
Well, I mean, like, you see him in movies all the time, right? Like,
yeah, and he's massive in those movies.
He doesn't usually seem it. Like, he even seems kind of meek a lot of times, right? Like, Needle-Nosed Ned seems like a meek character, right? His character in, I guess he's kind of a mean, tall, evil person in Mississippi Burning. That's a weird movie to think of Stephen Tobolowsky in. The, like, weird, like, racist, killed the teenagers movie, but he's usually not playing like an evil guy or a super big, imposing guy. So it seemed kind of weird here that he was so tall walking with that suit coat on.
If you ever watched Californication, you've seen him in basically a thong many times.
The best character in Californication.
Stu Beggs, baby.
Well, to start off here, the show uses like all their transitions are through like a computer screen. So we see like what looks like a old...
It's like a Mac OS
interface. Yeah, it's more like a Mac. And we see like a window open. It's like a generic interface. And then you see all these different icons that have like, basically like what could be the potential scene. So each, like, you see like an image, like a little basic image with the name under it. And then that's kind of how we're going to go from scene to scene the whole episode. I will say it's not like too distracting, and for the times it does date it, obviously, because of like the interface looks very of the time, but I don't mind it too much.
I will say it was a little too, I knew it was too much when I was like, are they doing this too often? When I'm doing my notes on my phone and I was using the same term for it, like interstitial computer. And by like the fourth one, it like auto corrected. It was like, did you mean interstitial computer? I was like, okay, it's been too many times if it knows to just be like, you're going to say this a fuck ton of times in your notes.
Because it's every scene change, which isn't a ton, but it is noticeable.
There are some really short scenes though, where then it feels really jarring. We were like, okay, we probably didn't need it for this one, right? We were looking at a floppy disk for 22 seconds and now we're going to do the thing again. So those two are back to back in like a minute scene.
There was a point where I was like, oh, well, this like basically tell you the layout of the show, but we get so few sets that some of those ones aren't used. So I think it said like airport was one, which we never go to an airport in this episode, but I guess if you pay attention to the beginning of the episode, you could kind of put together where this might, like where the show might take place throughout the episode.
I mean, they're a multi-million-dollar big startup company. I imagine they're going to have to travel at some point, right? They're trade shows and conferences and investors and all that sort of stuff.
But if you're watching like the future episodes and you see something new in there that like kind of flags your eye, that could be like a little giveaway as to what's going to happen in the episode.
Did they mention where they're supposed to be?
I don't recall. I assumed California, but that was just blank assumption. I really don't know.
Right, like the tech startup world at this point, especially Silicon Valley, right, is like known for that even then. So I would guess that, and there's a lot of. The funny thing now is that their office space they take or whatever is so like big and beautiful. It's probably just empty right now. Right?
Yeah.
So many just giant empty offices and campuses now because people just don't need the space.
We see the mouse. It goes and clicks on the garage link, which takes us to the first scene. We pan across the garage, and we see that there's kind of like a makeshift office going on inside of someone's garage. Title of the show flashes over the screen, and then we see a few guys working at their desks. When a girl named Carrie walks in, she's asking, is this Cyberbyte software? And like walks up to one of the guys, Carl, which is Steven Tobolowsky's the first one. And again, these are much like the show's called Dweebs. We're going to find out that all the guys who work here are, different types of nerds and are all very confused by a woman walking in here, I guess.
The Toblo scene here too, right? You walk in and you see him immediately. I think you're set up for success. Because I think most people see him and just immediately go like, oh, fuck yeah.
He's not in bad things. Like, everything he's in is really funny.
And he's good in everything.
Yeah, right. He makes it funny, too. But also, Cyberbyte is so 1995, it hurts.
Yeah. It's like, tell me about how to ride on the internet highway. Like, it's just like, just pick the words. And I say that as a complete fucking Luddite in 2025. It still rings hard as like, ooh, maybe, guys. A little too much.
When she first walks up to him and he like jumps and like throws his coat over the computer screen and turns the screen away from her.
No, this weirdly reminded me of too, thinking back. Remember when they used to have those big like tarps for computers? It's like, I'm done with my work for the day, and you'd give the computer its coat and like put it over so it wouldn't get
like
dust
a big
on it.
Dust
It's
shield.
so fucking funny to think of now.
Are we under the impression that he searched for boobs or something of that nature? It is very tough to get computers to react quickly.
No, I got the idea that he's just sorry, I'm sick, but I got the idea that he's just paranoid.
I thought there was a sexual component to it a little bit though. Like he's gonna be looking at something he doesn't want her to see.
No, I think they're just in the industry of their code being really like proprietary and not wanting anybody to see it. Otherwise, they're not as important anymore.
Even the lines after, he's like, "What did you see? Like, what didn't you see?" Like.
She's looking for Warren Mosby, and when she's asking, he's like, "No, he's not here." All right, I'll let you get back to what? And he's like very like secretive about what he was doing. See, I did take that as, and not just me being a pervert, but I just thought it was like,
no,
it came off like he was doing something inappropriate.
I did too, and I think it's really interesting that we're 50-50 on this. Like, two people thought sexual, two people thought like proprietary, right? Like that's kind of
just
interesting.
not the characters. They're, from the little we know from this pilot, you see them like they're very work savvy. Like they don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Also, you couldn't really fuck around too much with anything like that in 1995 either, right?
It
like
took so long to download a picture.
Yeah, he's downloading like a bad fake nude picture of Dana Scully, and it's going to take him 45 minutes to do so. Like, he doesn't need to.
You start watching your porn, you go to bed, you get up the next day, and it's just a fake video of a girl getting shot in the head. You're like, God damn it.
1995 Photoshop fake images of Sunny naked. Flash forward.
MPG 1982, baby.
Yeah, flash forward to modern day. Ugh.
Like that Stephen Tobolowsky is watching Sunny naked, though. That's his character.
Yeah, give me the fakes back, please.
I'd rather see him in a porno.
You know, so they got it crossing kind of like she doesn't know what to say because he's like kind of getting jumpy on her. And then you hear a voice here like, what? You're going to say something. Go ahead and say it. And that's Vic, who's one of the other guys at the other desk. That's Corey Feldman's character. Interested to just see Corey Feldman like, here we go.
Oh, Casper. I didn't know if we'd see her. Did you notice in my book Corey's kind of dressed like me in this episode? I did notice that, Casper. Corey Feldman does weirdly kind of look like Casper Jackson in this episode, and it's very strange.
No, you know what vibes he gives me? He gives me vibes of the villain from Hackers. Like, he's going to try to stop them from hacking the mainframe.
Yeah, but he's going to moonwalk to you to make sure you
He
can
is
do it.
nothing like the Plague. The Plague is way cooler.
If you remember Corey Feldman, like throughout like the years, there was a period where he very deliberately dressed and still to this day dances like Michael Jackson. That was like part of his thing for years.
Am I the only one who thinks... First of all, I kind of can't stand Corey Feldman, and he's obviously fucking delusional and losing his mind, and the entire world is just like, haha, Corey Feldman's so silly. He's out of his fucking tree.
He's like a real life lol cow.
He's seriously out of his mind, and everybody's like, let's see what happens, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, Nick, I think with you, I think the response to it is strange because it's changed over time, right? Because there's been like an arc to it where it was like, this is weird. I don't know. Crispin Glover, very similar, right? People are kind of like, this is weird, keep away. But then they're like, you know what? Let's watch what happens. And that's a very weird part of the human condition.
Yeah, it is weird.
Well, I think when like his band started opening up for Limp Bizkit for that tour, it became like I don't think Corey Feldman thought it was a comedy act, but I think it was like let's see what's going to happen. So whether it be like him like quote unquote shredding on the guitar or him getting hit in the face with his own microphone.
That's
or
my
like,
favorite clip.
I mean, like a lot of funny things happened along the way. But I just wanted to say, I thought it was funny to just see Corey Feldman like in a sitcom. Like at the end of the day, Corey Feldman, as wild as he can be, I think is a very talented actor.
Oh, yeah. And a huge part of my childhood. I watched Stand By Me just as much as I watched Batman and Ghostbusters
Goonies,
as a kid.
Ninja Turtles. I mean, like his voice is part of growing up.
Lost Boys. Like there's so many movies. The Burbs.
You know, I've never seen Lost Boys.
Oh man,
Really?
I almost watched it like recently too, in like the past month, and then like I kind of like read the synopsis. I have no idea about the Lost Boys. Like I've always heard about it, but I never really watched it or knew anything about it. And I read the synopsis to it. I'm like, I don't know, this sounds kind of dumb, and I didn't watch it. I mean, it's renowned though, so I mean, I guess give it a shot. But
it's a good movie. It's worth a watch. I would say wait until next summer, and we should all watch it, and then go to Old Orchard Beach, because the town that Lost Boys takes place in, it just feels like you're in Old Orchard Beach, and it's very fun when you go in there in the summer.
Only if you learn how to play the saxophone so we can recreate that scene.
I mean, I can get a saxophone and take my shirt off. I don't know how good it'll be though.
Anyways, so she walks over to Vic and he says, Warren's not here. She's like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to have an interview with him, like, for the office manager job. Unless this is just some kind of a weird way to get a woman into your garage.
And real quick, Nick, one of the main characters from Wings, I can't believe you didn't bring that up of all people.
Who?
This girl, she's on Wings for like 3 seasons.
As who?
The Left Wing.
Was she also on The West Wing? Actually, I think the guy who wrote this actually wrote The West Wing too, which is
She was
really
actually in the band Wings.
She's Paul McCartney. Hell on Wheels. Yeah, she was main cast of Wings for a while.
I can't like really see your face, so.
He played Alex Lambert for 37 episodes.
Oh shit, that's her?
Although to be fair, Nick, I'm going to say you just brought up the point again though too, where like I couldn't tell if an iconic character was an iconic character on a t-shirt. Like it's not like you can see everyone visibly so much.
And unfortunately passed away a few years ago. I did not know that. R.I.P.
This is where we take a fair fork in the road on this podcast.
You can't throw a pun, like you find out someone died and then make a pun joke.
She didn't just die.
Oh, God. So now we have Morley chiming in, and she walks over to his desk. The whole thing with him is like, he doesn't want to leave the garage. So they're about to all move into a new office. That's like why she's being hired as a new office manager. And he's very like, you don't like the garage? Like, I love the garage. I wish you weren't moving. She asks if they like knew each other beforehand, and they apparently they met in high school. It's like, oh, computer club, math club. It's like, oh, we had our heads stuffed in adjoined toilets.
That's a line to me that feels like it's from Big Bang Theory.
So I also feel like that this line could have been funny delivered by somebody else.
I feel like this show got made because people are like, oh, everyone loves that Urkel guy. You know, be better than Urkel? 5 Urkels.
Do you think they all turn into 5 Stefan Urkels? Or did it turn into 5 Pilsner Urkels? Farrah Fork just gets drunk. She drinks all their heads. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so tired this week.
Yeah, I would say like nerds in television and movies has been a thing for a long time. We had Revenge of the Nerds being a very successful series like earlier before this comes up. Like, I think there's always been some sort of pop culture interest in the idea of nerds. And then like when you look even past that, like we said, like then Big Bang Theory happened, Silicon Valley happened. So I just think that's always been a thing where it's like the secret life of nerds is always somehow funny for television.
This is very much too though like a Revenge of the Nerds style thing, right? It's like they're nerds, but they're super smart, and society hasn't caught up to it yet. Whereas I feel like in Big Bang Theory, it's such a different time in the world where it's like
hip.
It's hip, yeah. People get it. It's not weird to walk around with like the Flash T-shirt on, right? Whereas in Revenge of the Nerds, they're like completely being hunted for some reason. They're like being hunted for sport and having their house burnt down.
Hey, those nerds sure know how to rape. Am I right?
Oh, man. It is so hard going back and trying to watch movies like Revenge of the Nerds and Porky's and just being like, this is tough. Why was this? I mean, it's a good thing that we all watch those as kids and that we aren't like, no, we should defend that. Like, that's a good thing. Society's changed in a good way. But man, it's hard to watch some of those movies now.
80s.
Oh, the 80s.
Here, when that story comes up about them getting like, dual swirlies, that's when we get Carl walking over and saying, yep, that's how they treat nerds like us. And she's like, I don't think you guys are nerds. And he's like, oh God, yes. Like, look at the way I'm dressed. Like, you look fine. Everything I own is the color of mulch.
That is a legit lol joke for me. I laughed really fucking hard at that.
There's a few of them in this show, man. I'm telling you, this is not bad.
But my problem with something like that is if you're a nerd and you think there's like issue with your clothes and you're self-aware of the problem, like that doesn't work for me. Like someone else should be identifying that his clothes are the color of mulch.
Just because he's aware of it doesn't mean he knows how to fix it.
Right. I like that about his character. He's aware, but he can't find the way to change it.
Like it's proven later when he tries to go shopping for himself.
That's
and
true.
He screws it up.
Because she's like, well, you can buy new clothes. I think you'd look nice in something with a little color. You mean like gray?
I mean, to be fair, that tracks now. Watch any fucking Property Brothers show. Everything is like, oh, it's a lovely, here's 7 shades of gray. This is how everything fucking looks now. It's weird.
And here's me pegging my brother.
So 50 Shades of Gray.
Is Don Johnson on that one instead of Dakota Johnson? Because I would watch it if that was the case.
So she's asking, hey, when Mr. Mosby gets here, like, is there anything I should know about him beforehand that might help me with the interview? And
he's in love with a girl named Robin.
He's a god. And that's when the garage door opens. Because remember, this is a multicam, and they're all at their desks, and we're all looking at like their desks as if they're pointing towards us, the viewer, which means all of them are stationed to just be looking at a garage door. Like they could, like in real.
And the back of each other's heads. Like it's such a dumb way to set it up.
Yeah, if they were actually to set this up in a garage together, they wouldn't all just be like facing the door.
It's like when they hired the person to stage this, they had only staged like classrooms before, and they're like, I guess we'll just do this with desks. Like,
well, they're shooting it for the multicam.
Yeah, but I feel like there's other ways.
Yeah, like look at IT theory, which we're gonna compare to a bunch of times. They're spread out there on each side of the thing.
Sure.
They can pan over. You can see them in a wide shot.
But this is also just for this scene because we're leaving the garage. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be moving into their thing. But yes, like, so the door opens and you get like the light hitting them all in the face. And that's when you have Mosby like head in on like his little motor scooter.
He's in a moped, which is like a funny gag, right? Like that's like a nerdy thing to be driving. But he's also coming into their office with a gas engined, not clean gas engine moped. Like that's what makes no sense to me. Or it's like he would have parked that outside and come into the house, right?
Fumes, yeah.
Yeah, just like they would just filled the entire thing up with, like, imagine parking a dirty truck or car in the garage full of 10 people. You'd open the door back up and be like, what are you doing, man? And he's so smart. I know he's supposed to be like aloof to regular things, but that feels like a bit too far to me.
And this is Warren Mosby, played by Peter Scolari, another RIP from me a few years back.
Yeah.
He's dead? No way.
Yeah, famously, bosom buddies we covered a while ago, like where he played opposite Tom Hanks.
Check out our Susan B. Anthony Hotel t-shirt on S1E1pod.com.
Which actually exists. For all the times they don't, this one actually exists.
Yeah, that's a real one. Yeah, it's in my...
That one you can actually go ahead and buy. Yeah, Peter Scolari was in a million things, but like...
He was on Newhart for years, right? I think he did the whole
I think
run
that's
of
what I
Newhart,
know him from is the most.
He walks in and she's like, Mr. Mosby, I'm here about the office manager job. And his thing is like, he's like a little socially awkward. He's the super genius of, the king of the nerds here. He's like, oh, well, yeah, right. What? I just, woo. And he just exits. He just leaves the room.
He played this really well. I think they went to the well with this a little too often.
A little bit, yeah.
They do that with several jokes with this character.
His character is tricky because he either is like super socially awkward where he can't get a sentence out, or he's extremely stern. It just seems like a weird batch to combine.
I also think we've uncovered kind of that it's really a tell for a bad show is when they do things like that. When they hang on things for too long because they couldn't come up with other things to fill the time. It kind of just, I don't know. It seems emblematic of a not so great sitcom.
I just can think though, like imagine his agent being like, okay, we got an offer for you to lead a sitcom. And he's like, wow, okay, awesome. Yeah, I've done this before. This rules. Okay, you're the head of the sitcom. You're the head of the company. Great. How many lines do I have in this episode? 3. Sign me up. I'm fucking sold. Because he basically just goes, until the very end monologue, right?
But
like,
you have to be able to jump on a trampoline for 45 minutes.
That's true. With Ferg, as we've seen before, not everyone is capable of that, as we have seen broken bones at Ferg's house on trampolines in our lives previously. None of us, but we also saw the worst paramedic I've ever seen in my entire life that day. Is it broken? Well, it's sideways, sir.
So that scene ends. We go back to the screen, the computer screen, and now it clicks on computer store. So now we see Carrie inside of a computer store with her friend Noreen. Her friend's like, what are we doing here? She's like, I got the office manager job at that software company. I figure it's time to learn a little something about computers. And this is one, isn't it? So I think it's like fine to be computer illiterate, but I don't know about being so dumb that she has to point at every computer that looks exactly the same back then and be like, this is one of those computers, right?
Well, I also think it's like way more acceptable to be computer illiterate in 1995. Like they had not taken over the world.
This is the start of us being in computer class.
Sure.
In all schools. They're not everywhere, and her generation would have missed all that.
I think it's more than acceptable for a character at this time to be computer illiterate. It was the more pointing at the basic bulky white computer that everything looked identical and be like, this is one of those, right?
He never learned Okie data.
I will say this though, like, don't bring that friend in. You know what I mean? Like, you probably have somebody in your life who knows more about computers. Nick, I need to buy a new computer. And I was like, Nick, help, right? Because I knew you were a person who could answer me questions and like figure that out, right? I wouldn't have asked somebody who didn't know any of that stuff.
Well, I think
like
she's
me.
meant to be like the go-to like best friend character who's going to like be here throughout time.
Also, this computer salesman, by the way, we've seen in a million things, but he was one of the main characters in The Wonder Years when Kevin's a little older.
Yeah,
it's like the weird, like, older era. Kevin's a delivery person. He's in the band sort of era of Wonder Years.
He also kind of looks like Flea from the Red Hot Chili. Well, more like Flea's brother. Like if he existed, like
Tick.
You know what's funny? He got like the stereotypical, like, what's it called? Inhaler. And as Joe said, our version is so bad. I thought he was like vaping in 1996. I'm like, why is he-
Raspberry peach. Like, all right, man, cool, go for it.
I don't have, luckily, asthma. I don't know if, and Ferg, I think maybe you have had an inhaler in your
I had
life.
yeah.
If you had hit an inhaler that many times, you'd fucking die, wouldn't you?
It's like steroids, right? I believe
Yeah.
it's pretty strong, yeah.
I had it. We'll see him in a second, but yeah, that was my issue with the character. Was he was like, oh, I have to play like generic nerd. It's like, oh, inhaler, like that's a trope, and then just went to it a little too much with the inhaler. Once is fine. I do think when it comes to like Carrie's reasoning for wanting a computer, like outside of just the job, like she's like, I feel a little like, in the dust. So she's like aware, like here's the times, like this is the future. So like it makes sense to her. She says, even Courtney Love has one. So that's her gauge for like the dumbest human being she can think of that like if she can do it, I can do it.
Well, if you remember, there was a big, I think it was Windows 9, it might have been Windows 95.
I believe my computer is operating on that right now, actually.
There was a big like how-to VHS starring Courtney Love. I think I might be getting this wrong. I thought it was Courtney Love and Chandler. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Matt Perry. I remember Matt Perry, but I thought it was him and Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
together.
that's right. It was Jennifer Aniston. It wasn't Courtney Love. All right, redact everything I just said.
I also like the alternate universe where Courtney Love is on Friends, and she's like, hey, come over here.
Yeah, I was thinking Courtney Cox.
I also like Courtney Love in a Bruce Springsteen video. Would also be very funny. Basically anything Courtney Cox has ever done, put Courtney Love in it. Very funny. And then Courtney Cox killed Kurt Cobain.
So, salesman walks up, asks, if he can help them. She's like, oh, I'm looking to buy a computer. What kind? The type you put on a desk and type on? He's like, yeah, I get that. Like, are you looking for a Mac, Windows? She's like, I don't do Windows. That doesn't work at all with him, though. So it goes awkwardly silent. And she goes, oh, seriously? I don't know. And then her friend goes, Windows sound pretty.
That's crazy. This is like a dream customer from him. She knows nothing about computer. He can upsell her the most useless shit in the world, and he's just like, a girl. Ugh.
It's like somebody coming in after they won the lottery being like, I want to buy a car. It's like, oh, well, you need these packages.
So he starts spitting off things, 8 megabytes of RAM, quarter gig hard disk. It's crazy.
Times have changed.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like my first computer had like 1 gig in the Packard Bell. So
My first computer didn't have storage. It just ran off floppy disks. Like it would just whatever you put in it is that what it would play, and you couldn't save or do anything. Then you would get the additional floppy drive, and so you could save things because you'd run one thing off of it. Man, those are the days.
Like the Oregon Trail.
Oh man, third disc. Like you fjorded the river again, put a third disc or a third floppy disk in. But if anybody out there in the world knows where to find the game Wallpipe, which was my favorite computer game as a kid, that was a floppy disk game. I just want to play it. I can't find it anywhere. Somebody has to have made that into a...
That's when you go up to a hole you find in a bathroom and you put your mouth up against it.
That's called Porky's. It's a different game.
Next scene, we go back to the office for the first time, and we see like a beautiful new office with like movers bringing in like the desks and all the furniture. And Carrie walks in. She's like, "Wow, this is incredible." And then we see Morley like hiding behind. Well, like something gets revealed after it's moved, and he's sitting there. He goes, "I hate it. It's too big. It's too bright, and I'm allergic to the carpet." And then he like takes her to like one of the air vents. He's like, "Take a deep breath. Do you know what that is? What? Legionnaire's disease," which was it was like a bacterial pneumonia, which was named after the fact that it was first discovered at an American Legion meeting.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what's funny? We've talked about Legionnaire's disease on this podcast before.
Have we?
It's come up a bunch, yeah. I mean, it's basically just pneumonia. I don't think they call it that anymore. I think they're just like, you have like viral bacterial pneumonia. I don't think they say Legionnaire's disease anymore. It's like one of those things where the poor Foreign Legion doesn't get the credit anymore.
Well, that's like going back to Lou Gehrig's disease. Like, do you want the credit? So Vic walks in and he goes, "Hey, Warren wants you to open an account at the bank downstairs," and hands Carrie a check. And she's like, "This is for $3 million." And then she goes, "A penthouse suite, a check for $3 million? How successful are you guys?" And then Vic just does like a super nerdy laugh, like,
I can't stand him. Like, I really cannot stand him.
I love Corey Feldman. This character is a lot.
He's so annoying.
See, I don't find him that way, but I think this is one of those, like, for you, this seems like you can't get past, like, preconceived don't like him.
No, I don't like him the same reason I didn't like David Spade in that last show we did. He's like adjacent to him.
No, I love David Spade in that last show.
No, I think David Spade in that show is someone who, when you watch the show, is being meant to be cooler than he is. Here, he's the cool nerd. He's still a nerd.
Kind of like how Booger was the cool nerd.
Booger is a cool nerd, though.
He's not cool. He thinks he's cool. He's cool amongst the nerds. He thinks he's the cool one in the group.
Not Booger, though. Booger, I would put money on, is actually cool. Booger would fit into any party in the college. Be like, hey, this is Booger. People would be like, dude, fucking Booger rages. They're not going to be mad at him.
That's not what he is. Vic is a nerd who's not self-aware.
I have 2 pairs of glasses. It's like, all right, buddy. Is Booger around?
I've been waiting for you to do that for 3 days.
So during this conversation is when Warren happens to walk into the office. She goes to stop him, and she's like, Warren, this is more office than I thought it would be. He goes, well, yeah, you know, that's, I guess, I don't, and like walks into his office. So again, what we see from the first scene where he can't get a sentence out and just ignores it. But also, like, the idea that they were going to hire an office manager perhaps would have implied that they were going to open up a bigger office.
It's not even that big.
I mean, yeah, that's true. It's bigger than a garage, I guess. I will say this, though. What we're not seeing is it's probably the whole floor of a building, which
That's what I
is
mean,
deceptively large when you go into a building and you're like, even if you think of, like, if you've been in a building in Boston, Nick, and even office downtown, right? You've been there, like, think the whole floor of a building is way more square feet than you think of when you just see, like, the outside of it.
Yeah, but you've already met all the characters, and they're all in that same room. So the only other things that could be is some maybe conference rooms. It's not like...
Oh, we didn't meet all the characters, because at this point, when Carrie walks back to her desk, that's when Todd walks in.
Justice for Todd.
So now he's saying, excuse me, you're the office manager? Uh-huh. I'm here for the open position. And then he's going over all his qualifications, and he's familiar with bitrate circuit emulation and blah, 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 all this jargon. And she goes, this is a gopher job. Like, are you familiar with decaf? And he goes, I just think Warren Mosby's a visionary, a giant. And you can see in the distance behind him as he's talking that Warren's now in his new office, which is like closed off. It's like, because the office itself is like open space, but he has a private office within it. And you just see like his silhouette jumping up and down on a trampoline inside of his office.
And I'll admit, I laughed at this. Like, oh, look, he's quirky. He's jumping on a trampoline in the background. But he's on there the rest of the scene. And I'm like, all right, that's
he needed to be on there in this scene through the blinds because it's funny to see it through the blinds in this scenario. And he needed to be on at the very last scene when they're talking. They did not need to do it more than that. And they really overstep how many times they should do that and like overstay their welcome on him as like, I'm the trampoline guy. You know why? Because there's not a fucking trampoline in the garage. So now it just feels weird that you just keep going to it. If he was driving a moped around in one of the rooms, I guess that maybe worked. But also Todd, by the way, Ferg, star of Leprechaun 2.
Oh, yeah.
And then soon after that, we see Morley shouting over to Carrie like, hey, what's your email address? And she goes, 1 second. And then she goes over to Todd and goes, hey, you really want this job? Maybe we could, work out a little arrangement. And he goes, like in disclosure? He's like, I'd like to be able to consult you for technical explanations, like things I don't want to trouble the guys with. So she's realizing that she can use Todd as like her assistant, who will also be her translator for all nerd jargon.
The joke for this too, though, is she's in the movie Disclosure.
Oh, is it?
I did not know that. Yeah.
That would explain the crowd pop.
Yeah, Disclosure is one of those. That's the Michael Douglas Demi Moore one. There's like all those years. Steven Tobolowsky's actually the bad guy in Single White Female, which I think is the best of all of those movies. But there was like that whole just run of like 10 years of like sexy, dark, weird things like Indecent Proposal,
The Dark Side of Wall Street.
There's that weird one where Kevin Costner and That's Not Snowflake is a Russian spy. But like when there's all those like seductive sort of thriller movies,
Yeah.
what's one where Sharon Stone flashes? That's like the biggest one.
Oh, a decent proposal.
No, Indecent Proposal is the one with Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson, and
Basic Instincts.
Basic Instinct, yeah, Basic Instinct, and that led into like Showgirls over like a very early '90s sort of thread of movies. But she's a Jade. Jade's a really fun one. If you guys have ever seen Jade, that's got David Caruso in it. That's a weird one. But I just like the idea of like making a joke of he won money on a scratchy. I do like the like joke of that because like that movie wasn't also very big either. You know,
Love that movie.
flowers for me, Gordon. You shouldn't have.
So now Carl walks in and he's wearing his new red plaid suit coat, and it doesn't look good. He's also wearing like his normal like brown and beige under it, so it looks pretty terrible on him.
Ironically, that would look good in 2025 or 2026, where we are now.
Corey Feldman saying somewhere in the city there's a very cold horse, though, made me also laugh out loud. It's basically saying he's wearing a horse blanket because it's plaid and so big. I laughed really fucking hard at that.
If you look up like a horse blanket like that, it does look exactly like this.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny.
He was on him, yeah, pretty rough. He also says, Carl, the big and tall people called. They're thinking of opening a new blind and ugly store. Want to invest?
Little too mean.
Yeah. So he looks over to her. He's like, this is your fault. She's like, oh, stop it, Carl. You took a chance. Like, come on. Let me see. And then she looks at it and goes, it's returnable, isn't it? Like, oh, God. She's like, no, listen, I'll tell you what. After work, we'll go back together and we'll see what else they got. He goes, would you do that? It would be my pleasure. And now he's like, like, because now he's going to like get a little friend date with her.
Just that weird walk, was that like a hide a boner walk, or was that like a hey, I get a date walk?
I think that was just like he was strutting.
Yeah, that's like a very
Struts over to the desk.
Yeah.
He puts his feet up.
Could also hide a boner.
Well, yeah, but I just don't think that was the intent. I think if you're trying to hide your boner, you could just sit behind the desk. You don't have to kick your feet up.
I think of Toblo though as a briefs man that helps to hide the boner.
Wait, I'll play Gordo for this one. How do you guys hide your boners?
If you were a boner name, what would you call your boner?
It would be funny if after he put his feet up, he farted.
Skibbity!
He's gonna edit in something when we do this one day. Be like racist comments or something through like an AI bot.
Now we cut to like a little bit later on. We see Kara getting off the phone, and then she's like addressing all the guys, like, "Hey everyone, lunchtime, my treat." And they all like look at her. She's like, "What?" And they all in unison like pick up their bagged lunches. She's like, "That's no fun. Like, we'll go out." Then she looks over at Warren's office, and you see him like still bouncing up and down. And then she asks him like, does he come from circus people? You say, no, that helps him think. And that's how he's going to come up with the next killer app.
I mean, I will say, if you think of these people at this time who are coming up with apps in the early 90s too, right? Like, these are people who just like have not been working for fucking 30 years now, who are just like on an island they own. It's crazy that this group of people just kind of like were able to write their own ticket. Like with no one saw how this was going to go.
This is like another example of what you talked about in the computer shop. Is she doesn't know what killer app is. It's like something like that. You'd think she'd know at least, even like the dumbest.
I don't know. I'm thinking back at 95 because she whispers over to Todd like privately, like killer app, and then he goes, something people are really going to want to do with computers.
Yeah, it felt early to me. I didn't know what an app meant as like a shorthand until probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I would have. Did we use application a lot in the 90s? I can't remember. I feel like it was all programs.
Yeah, it's like open the app for a number muncher.
But like, is Paint an app? Is like Calculator and Minds? Are those all apps? Like technically, like
they're all applications. Yeah,
I just don't think we call them that.
We didn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say that was part of our lingo yet, especially for 95. So I think you can give her a pass on that one.
Yeah, in 1995, we were like, did we even have like instant messenger in 1995 yet?
No.
Part of AOL? Like, you mean like we were so far beyond
no.
like knowing how to use. I used to go on like the Tower Records website on AOL at this point, and you could like search an inventory. That's basically that and wrestling.
Keyword
boards.
Tower
All I
Records.
do. Yeah, keyword Tower. It was Tower. Or keyword, I think there was like Pro Wrestling Illustrated was like a message board thing that was like wrestling talk. Those are the only two things I knew how to use on the internet at that time.
Berg chat did not exist yet.
Did not.
For those listening, we would have like a daily AOL chat where we all knew to like just someone have to start the chat every day. It didn't like ever exist. It would have to be made each day, but that's
and then Jay and Ferg ruined it by pretending to be a social terrorist named Too Tough for Tears.
That was not us.
It wasn't us.
Yeah.
What is your evidence that it was us? You were just assuming.
The account was logged in on your computer at one
It was
point.
not.
Yes, it was.
Had to be one of us. Might as well have been both. It turned into a Tony Clifton thing where, it must be both of them.
Now you're all wet.
But the fact that it was logged in on Ferg's computer is a fact. That
It was
happened.
not logged in on my computer.
Even if it was, there is like at that time, you could, anytime anyone even tried to log in, it would just have like a backlog of every username attempted. But anyways, that's very real inside baseball. So she goes into Warren's office and he's jumping up and down on the trampoline and she's like, hey, how's the old app coming? And he's not saying anything to her and he's like, so the guys and I are gonna go to lunch if you'd like to join us. And it's more silence. And then she goes, okay, well, see you in a little while. And then finally gets a sentence out. It's like, explain something to me. Lunch. What's that all about? Like, you don't know what lunch is? I understand the need for food in the middle of the day. I just don't understand why it needs to be lunch.
This is maybe the worst written dialogue of the entire episode, by the way. This whole thing feels like I drank too much at the end of episodes sometimes. I'm trying to give a speech as to why I want to greenlight or cancel a show, and it just rambles. That is the lunch speech that happens here.
So that's the thing. Well, the way he closes that out is saying like the whole, everyone's sitting together, chit-chatting, laughing, like the social element. Like he's thinking lunch is the social element of eating with other people, where it isn't. Like you can have lunch with other people, but lunch is also something you can have by yourself. And he's smart enough that he should realize that lunch exists whether or not it's a social situation.
Very forced. Oh, look how weird he is.
And we've talked about this before too, but I don't eat lunch. I just don't have lunch I just don't eat lunch. So it's so weird in those scenarios where like if I'm like with coworkers, like we're going to lunch, and I'm like, okay. Like I'm just not hungry at noon. Like I'm not trying to be like different or weird. I just like I eat one like big meal a day, and I have like a few snacks during the day. But it's always weird for me at lunch where it's like, someone's like, do you want to have lunch? I'm like, okay, but that means I won't have dinner because I'll be so full at 6 p.m. still that like I'm not going to want pizza or whatever, you know?
See, I prioritize my food more around like a late lunch is like my main meal. And then I might have something like later, like a small dinner when I'm eating properly, by the way. Not right now where I'm just eating nonstop all the time. But, but anyways, yeah, this whole thing with Warren, this is when we're getting a lot of like his backstory where it's more like, he doesn't like to be social most of the world. The world never really wanted to be social with him. So we're kind of getting like this whole, he likes to live in this small bubble that he's kind of created for himself now. And because of that, he doesn't like to be around other people who aren't computer literate like he is. So, you know, because he talks about like how, you know, if I had $1 million for every time I was given a wedgie, wait, I do. So
well delivered though. That line is like they actually give him some meat on the bone to like make a joke at least here, and not just go like hem and haw the whole time, you know.
So this becomes like unless you're like again in 95 to be like this computer literate versus illiterate was a bigger divide than it is today, right? You can be very computer savvy today and not be as socially, you know, inept. But because of this, now Carrie's in a situation where she's like, oh shit, because I don't know shit about computers, and she now needs to hide it from Warren.
I wonder if at some point she buys a Computers for Dummies book. Like that feels like the joke for this, right? Like remember all the For Dummies books? I remember going to somebody's house once and seeing like 17 like For Dummies books and being like, that just makes me think you're a dummy. That doesn't make me think that you know more. That just makes me think that you are a dummy about a lot of things.
After kind of like that reveal of the scene, we get back to the computer screen, and now we click on apartment, and we cut to Carrie inside of hers with her friend Noreen again as they're assembling that computer she bought. And Noreen's like, well, maybe this isn't the right job for you. Like, well, I like these guys. It's like they're so smart. They need someone to help them be normal. and they have no idea how to connect with people, and I have no idea how to connect with that.
And this specifically is what compares it to the IT crowd. That's the whole Jen's job is to teach them how to interact with the rest of the building and stuff and social skills, and then teach her IT stuff.
I like this though because I think this paints her in a good light right away, where like she's not a bad person. This isn't just about money. She's like actually bonding with these people. And I think it actually, everyone here has worked at a job, right? Like there are people you would probably never interact with in your regular life if it wasn't for work, but you get along with them and you sort of learn from them. They learn from you and you like become a better human because you can interact with different kinds of people. I think it's like a growing experience for both sides of the coin here.
I think the move with this should have been she doesn't like them yet. She doesn't know them long enough to say, I like these people. And then maybe when they help her with the spreadsheet thing later, that's when she realizes, oh, they're different, but they have big hearts and all that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe if she was like, I mean, I think they're okay. Like even a shed of doubt, right? Like the shred of doubt, you'd be like, okay, maybe she doesn't know yet.
So I'm okay with her just being like legitimately like a good person to them and like there's no ulterior motive and just it be what it is. I think that helps. It helps everyone rile up to support her. And, you know, we'll see later on. The character being as genuine as it is, as she is, I think ultimately is good for the show. I do take some issue with like how some of the plot line is handled later on with her though, because the fact that she has like computer illiteracy is what I thought going to be like the driving motive for like the whole season, and like it gets resolved, which, you know, we'll talk about. But
if you want to get technical, I mean, this plot did take up like a fourth of the entire series.
Yeah, it's fair.
You leave there 42 days alone, sir.
So now as we get the floppy disk, this isn't floppy. Would you call it floppy? No, I'd call that hard. Maybe it's a hard disk. It's certainly not floppy. It's definitely hard. And then it's, with all this talk about something being floppy or hard, shouldn't we be having a better time?
Yuck.
Like the one inherently sexual joke in the whole episode, I don't think it was necessary at all.
It wasn't like, you know, girls being girls.
Right after they got into a pillow fight. It was crazy.
Why are we in our panties while we set up this computer? It's like, what are we doing here?
So this is when like we did have the hard disk, but like the 3.5, we called them floppies, but they weren't technically floppy disks anymore. There used to be a floppy, like there was a floppy one once upon a time. By the time we all had like our computers, it was like those 3.5-inch hard disks that helped.
Oh, not mine. My first one had those floppy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were more prevalent like 10 years earlier, like 84, 85 is on like the big floppy disks, and you have like 15 of them to run something.
I had a computer that did both at one point.
Yeah, the two different slots, yeah.
But were they even like technically like the hard disk? Was that even called a floppy disk, or do we just still call it that because that's what the old one was called?
No, they were both called floppies, yeah.
They were called floppies?
Yeah.
But the disks that we're most used to, the hard, smaller ones, were like way more prevalent by the time
they would differentiate by their size. So it would be like the 5.25 and a 3.5 floppy.
Yeah, I remember
so
the 3.5 would be like the hard disk, but
that's a standard one. Yeah, the 5.25 were like the actual floppy disks. Yeah.
Now my computer doesn't even have a CD drive.
I know, right? I had a CD I was trying to upload so I could try to get it, the files on it mastered, and it was like I have to find somebody who has a CD drive now.
What's the point of differentiating them by the size when they are physically completely different, and you could have just went by the floppy and hard disk thing? It's like,
because hard disk was already being used as your main like internal disk.
So now Carrie's kind of like, what am I going to do? Like, I got to learn all this stuff. My boss only wants people who are computer literate. And Noreen's like, well, you're the office manager. He didn't mean you. That's, basic Carrie. You're not the most technically adept person we know. Like, what do you mean? And then like you cut to like her shelf of electronic things, I guess, which are either,
it's like a stereo receiver, a VCR.
it looks like it's like everything's either not in use or not set up properly.
No, it's that the clocks are all blinking. She didn't set
I
the
see
clocks,
the clocks
on
blinking, but you wouldn't have all that stuff together like on a shelf like that either.
No, I think this is just a bad setup, but that's the joke, right? Is that like when the power goes out and your VCR starts flashing the clock because the power went out, you don't know enough to then change it back to what the clock was, right? So like she's got all these different things, receivers, VCRs, whatever.
That's my microwave right now.
The worst thing ever about this is an insane thing, but being an adult and having a microwave that's above the stove, which is like how sometimes they build the scenario, is that when the power goes out, you have to work so hard to get those two clocks to line up exactly the same. So the moments click over the exact same time. If we lose power, I spend maybe 40 minutes the next day trying to get the clocks exactly right. I did it at an Airbnb. I was so mad they were off at the Airbnb we were at this summer that I spent like half an hour trying to make the clocks aligned and still
all
fucked it
you
up.
do is make the top one a minute above the bottom one, and as soon as you see that bottom one change, you click down one.
Well, it's hard because some, like my stove, you have to, it'll set if you don't keep messing with it. So if you do like up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, down, to make it like still in motion that it wants to change. Then you have to like quick hit, like set.
But where do you have like two clocks that are like so close to each other that it matters if they're not?
My microwave and stove are right on top of
they're
each
on top
other.
of each other. So they're two clocks right above each other.
I was
So
gonna
those
give
numbers
Joe
are off.
shit, but I've
Yeah.
had this. I've done the same exact thing before.
So like a lot of microwaves are set, they're like bolted in right above your stove.
Right.
And they're right below that is the interface for the stove that shows the time. So you have to like make sure those are accurate. Otherwise your brain breaks if you look and they're a minute off, right?
Next scene, we're back in the office. Carrie's walking in. As that's happening, Morley's walking in, sneezing and saying, "I hate it here." Talking about how like the elevator has so many different perfumes and colognes, and every part of his body's breaking up and swelling up or oozing. And then that's when Carrie's saying, "Well, I have a surprise for you." And then the two walk over to his desk and he's like, "Wow." And she basically took a whole bunch of junk from the garage and put it all over his desk area.
Now, it's a little strange that this character's supposed to be the germaphobe guy who's like afraid of everything, grossed out by everything, but he prefers a dirty garage.
Yeah.
He wants like random old dirty hubcaps bolted to his desk. He's like, this is much better. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like all the things he was complaining about, instead of it being all about air quality and germs, should have just been about just the changes in the environment. This way it made sense to like kind of bring him a piece of home to his desk area.
And anybody, like, moving is tough, right? Like, it's hard to get used to moving, whether or not it's hard to handle, right? Like, you're in a new area, your routines are thrown off. And I've worked at companies before where, like, we changed offices every couple of years, and it's hard to, like, reacclimate to a whole new everything, a whole new coffee shop, it's a whole new train station, it's a whole new routine. I wouldn't have felt any better if someone was like, yeah, but we did cut up a piece of the floor from your old office and nail it to your desk. Like, oh, it's just like home. Thank you, guys.
And he was very touched by this. Said it was the nicest thing anyone's ever done for him. And then Vic chimes in with that didn't involve the words out collar massage.
I mean, that's kind of a funny line, though.
And then Carrie gets on him and goes, "There you go, Vic. Hiding behind your hostile jokes and those dark sunglasses. When are you going to take those off and let me see the real you? The real me? The guy who's not so worried about being cool all the time. All right, you want to see the real me? I'll do this, but just once. Never ask me to do it again." Joe, you mentioned earlier, takes off the glasses, smaller pair of sunglasses under it, and he's in hysterics and saying, "I've been waiting 3 days for you to ask me to do that."
He's been wearing 2 sets of sunglasses for 3 fucking days for the worst joke reveal of all time. Jesus Louises.
I'd be walking into shit.
I thought that was a funny gag.
I get the funny of it, but I'm also just like, if you, to do this kind of terrible, stupid joke, have spent 3 days wearing double pairs of sunglasses, I don't think the payoff is worth it.
For 3 days, you're essentially blind.
Right, yeah. 2 pairs of sunglasses?
After one day, you go, well, that didn't work. Today's the day.
But I would say, like, is this like wild in multicam sitcom world? No.
That is fair. In the real world, that makes no sense to me. In the wacky world of sitcoms on CBS in 1995, sure.
Yeah. I think in sitcom world, this isn't like a stretch for something you would see.
But you guys never use that excuse for other things we break down that don't make sense.
I think to a degree,
Give me some consistency, boys.
that's not what we do here.
It is.
We have not been consistent for 30 years, and we're not going to start now.
No, I would say like I think there's like almost this even goes to like the difference between like a multicam versus like a single cam. Like I feel like there's an air of silliness that you're allowed to have with single cam or we're not multicam. Think of like Home Improvement, like Wilson. Wilson works on a multicam that doesn't work on a single cam.
But it would work if we cut to the Wilson cam, where we just see from Wilson's point of view.
which they've done.
Wilson does a POV porn thing with Tim.
Oh, don't do that.
Could happen. The Beach Boys are over there for some reason, hanging out. Why are the Beach Boys both on Home Improvement and Full House, by the way? What? Like, I like the Beach Boys. I just don't understand.
No, but they recently played at Epcot with John Stamos, because as you know, he's a member, and
he was.
a line went all the way through the park.
I mean, look, the Beach Boys are one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. I get that. It's just weird to me that, like, 1992, the entirety of society was like, we should put them on every popular sitcom and see what happens. It's a weird thing.
He was actively, like, John Stamos was actively a part of the band for years and years and years and years still.
Sure, and I get the joke of
Forever.
Home Improvement was that Wilson, right? That's the Wilson brothers. That's, like, I get that too. But, like, it just seems weird that, like, they were just like, we'll just keep doing it.
By the way, before we get back into the show, blew my mind, shouldn't have, but blew my mind when I found out that Forever was just an old Beach Boys song that, like, didn't do much.
Yeah, the thing with the Beach Boys, which is really weird, is they put out, like, 50 fucking albums, right? And then you go back and listen to ones that are like, nobody liked this record, 1975, and you listen to it and you're like, this is a masterpiece of songwriting. Like, it's crazy that they were able to write so much, and it makes sense that Brian Wilson is such a crazy person, because only a crazy person could write 500 perfect weird songs, right?
So now Todd's in the office, says good morning, and is like backing away from Carrie's hair. He gives her like a weird look, like almost like the like, hey, we have this like side thing going on look for their like agreement. But like, I don't know. I didn't really catch what it was, but he's like locked into her as he's backing up. And when he backs into Warren, and he goes, oh God, Mr. Mosby, I'm so sorry. And that's when like, Warren's like, you can't, it's just, and then like walks off. And I don't know why he's like, we keep switching back and forth. I don't get that, like, the first couple times where he almost seemed like he couldn't talk to Carrie kind of made sense, but like now with Todd and him being overwhelmed with the bumping into each other, I feel like we're overdoing that whole he can't get a sentence out thing.
99% of people, we've all done this 1,000 times. You're walking through the subway or down the street or whatever, you bump somebody by accident, and both people just go, oh shit, I'm sorry. And you just go, ah, and you keep walking, right? Like,
I'm walking here.
Yeah, you punch the cab as hard as you can. So I think it's going too far to make him that much of a person who can't handle any social interaction. Because most people, that happens. You just bump into people like, oh, no worries, man, you're good.
And then right after that, we have Carl walking in, and now he's actually in a nice looking suit. So
Toblo, a handsome guy and with a like a good fitting cut suit and tall. He walks in, he's like a totally different character. This is one of those weird things where like the outfit actually changes the person that much.
With the exception of he left the tag on, and then he has to kind of run up to Carrie so she can cut it off for him. And then we find out too, like when they're asking him about it, like, oh, is that like the coat like Carrie helped you find? Yeah. And she helped him for 2 hours. Like, so she's actually like, that's a lot of her time after work to like spend 2 hours with the guy going shopping. Well, 1 hour was his tie was stuck in the credit card machine. Awful long time to be stuck.
In my brain, because this was 1995, I was thinking it was one of the like you slide across the credit card machine, and that's way funnier than if it got like.
I think it was like,
by a...
help me, step officer manager. My tie's stuck in the card machine.
That's definitely a whole subsect, by the way, of porn. Is the like I was caught stealing, and now I'm in the back room with the security officer. That's definitely like a whole subset of pornography that exists.
And Vic's like being Vic. Goes, oh, great jacket. It really brings out the flesh tones in your head. And I felt like that was a little bit of a, like, it was okay to make fun of him.
Why are
when
they
he had
so mean to him? And I don't know if it's because he, as an actor, like as a person, he's just kind of like a big, goofy, lovable guy. And so I just feel so bad for him when they're mean to him.
Oh yeah, you hurt for him every time he gets made fun of, for sure.
It all falls on the actor. It's like this being Corey Feldman. It's like, oh, he's so mean to him. But then if you watch the IT crowd, you got characters like Guilfoyle, who's a complete prick to everyone, who's honestly a lot meaner, and you're like, Guilfoyle's awesome.
Or Box of Frogs in God, I can't remember his name. The actor's name. I feel so bad that Box of Frogs is his name in the league, but the main character in Silicon Valley, who's like the sarcastic one, he's in a billion things.
Oh, TJ Miller's character?
Not TJ Miller, the long haired, dark haired kid who's in
Oh, the one from Freaks and Geeks?
For Freaks and Geeks. I have to
That's
go out again.
Guilfoyle.
Yeah,
That's what I was
that's
talking
Guilfoyle.
about.
Oh, you said IT Crowd. I was thinking of Silicon Valley.
Martin Starr.
Martin Starr, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the same page. Yeah, but yeah, that's a very different character.
Well, I
and,
think
like,
I think the difference here is always like who he's aiming it as, right? So like when you're aiming it towards someone as likable as Carl, it comes off very different than like when those guys are doing it to other people. So Carl's someone you don't want to see anybody make fun of. So even if those guys did it to him, it would come off kind of mean. And it seems like a push here because this is almost it sounds like it's Vic's job to kind of like make fun of everyone to kind of maintain his role, trying to be like the one who's cooler than the rest of them, right? And again, like I said, I don't think he's actually cool. I think in his head he's the cool one of the group. So he's punching down a lot. But when he does this one, Carrie like goes, I'll have you know, many women find bald men very sexy. And then she even like kisses him on the head after she says that, which I was like, whoa.
Will they, won't they?
Not so much, but like I did think the fact that she like went for the actual physical kiss on the head was a choice.
this is too, like, if you think about it, this is a very interesting time in society where like the shaved head look came into vogue. Like we always had like Telly Savalas and Yul Brynner, right? But like we're coming up on like Stone Cold and Goldberg and like the like bald guy chic that I think is carried on till now, right? Like guys who've fully shaved head or like lose their hair. I don't think it's I think then though it was like weirdly like ooh, and now it's like one of those things where it doesn't matter unless you go to like Turkey or whatever and like there's pictures of like or like your Steve Carell or whatever. It's like, so what'd you do coming back from this $10 million plane ride?
So now Warren's saying, hey, we're on a spreadsheet of third quarter miscellaneous expenses. Shoot it to the financial subdirectory on the hard drive and fax a file copy to accounting. And Carrie's like, who, me? I'll get right on that. Todd? And then it's like, oh, he's running the diagnostics on a new motherboard. No, he's not. He's zapping the perimeter RAM on the power PC. Get out of here. He's trying to find the Ethernet card going to the PC MCIA slots. And then that's when she yells like, doesn't anyone speak freaking English?
Nick, I'll defer to you. Is all of that real?
As far as I could tell, yeah, that's some old terminology, so it might be a little off, but it sounds legit.
And that's when the other guy's like, what's wrong? Well, actually, they both asked what's wrong, and then they get into an argument about who asked what's wrong first and the intent. I already asked her what's wrong. Like, she didn't want you to ask what's wrong. She wanted me to ask what's wrong. Which I thought was a little weird because it's not like they're all under the assumption that there's like any type of relationship like that there, but they kind of played it as if that was the case.
Yeah.
And then, but eventually she answers and goes, he wants me to spread a sheet over his heart thing.
This is again why you get an actor like Steven Tobolowsky in this though, because she says that and it's kind of funny. And his response of like, I'm sure that's not right, is so fucking funny. Where like, that's why you need somebody like him in this, like a really good actor who can just pop in and deliver a line that well. Because I'm sure that's not right, the crowd pops and I laughed so fucking hard at the way he said it.
I did too, yeah.
And now she's like, this is it for her. She's has like a total meltdown. She's like, you know what? I tried to learn this stuff. I really did. She's kind of going on like, I don't understand like any of this. I don't understand why we're regressing. If you want to talk to people, just pick up the phone. You don't need to hook up your phone to a cord and then talk to them on a computer and type the message. Like you can actually just talk to them. It's funny like to go forward this many years and like still kind of see like the validity in that kind of argument.
I love her just going, it's a regressive technology. Like I felt so validated by that one comment. It's like, yes, this is bad. What are we doing? I've had so many people recently be like, can I call you at work? Like customers be like, can I just call you real quick and talk to you on the phone? And pre-COVID, that was the method. Hey, I can explain this to you. We can talk. We can be like whatever on the phone. And then like when you see like a demo or do whatever, like we can hop on like a video call. And post-COVID, everything is a video call. So it's weird to see people like kind of regressing back and being like, could we just call on the phone and talk like people for a minute without like having to show our faces? And I'm all for it.
I don't mind the video call aspect of it. I do find that sometimes it's easier to, whether it be a video call or like a conventional phone call versus typing back and forth. Sometimes you just get way more communication done in much shorter time.
You need to be in real time for sure, yeah. Just typing doesn't work. Like being on like a chat, I mean, it makes sense that you go into like a chat for something like to return this from Amazon, the chat is going to be a nightmare. Like, there's no way to make that work cohesively and quickly like you want it to. But I will say this too, I've noticed a lot of people also in video calls being like, are we okay if we do no camera? And I'm always like, yeah, we're good. That's amazing. I would love to not be on camera for...
No, we meant us. Joe, you have to be on camera.
That happens sometimes too, and it's really weird. Where they're like, we'll be off camera. Can you be on camera? And you're like, thank you.
I'd be like, nah, we're all in together. Like, that's weird. So now Carrie's at a point where she's like, well, I guess I have to quit now. And I was like, no, you don't have to quit. You know, Carl's trying to help. Like, what is it that he wanted? A spreadsheet? I could do this. And he said, and she says, yeah, something about like third quarter earnings. Yeah, that's fine. It'll just take 2 shakes. And then that's when, like, Morley's like, you're going to go behind Warren's back? And Vic goes, no, you're not going to go behind his back. You're going to do it right in front of him because here he comes.
This is a forced problem because it doesn't have to be done right this second. They could wait for him to leave.
Yeah.
This is a real, like, by end of day scenario, not like by end of minute scenario. Like, yeah, get me that stuff today.
Right. I guess I guess
he's going to go back in his office and jump on his trampoline for another 3 hours.
Right.
No, but I guess to set it up, it's not that it had to be that second, but he was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. It'll only take a second, and then goes to do it. And it just so happens that Warren walks by, and now we need a reason that Carl's at her computer because she's, in theory, supposed to be, you know, good enough with computers that she shouldn't need him over at her computer for anything.
Did she send like a fake resume saying she knew computers?
We kind of got past it in a way that wasn't explained. She applied for the job and then he ran away at the time. And then we flashed to her explaining that she got the job to her friend.
Yeah, I think it was to do that, like, Warren is such an introvert that he was like, somebody applied, they seemed capable in whatever way. So they were hired, right? Because he couldn't, like, deal with multiple... Which is insane to think about, right? Like, imagine if we were hiring... Imagine Gordo's on here today. Imagine Gordo was like, fuck you guys, I'm leaving. Skibbity podcast is taking off. We need a 5th person. We had to interview 500 people to be the next member of this podcast. That would be fucking excruciating. You know what I mean? Like, somebody walks in, they're like, I can do this. You're like, you got the job, buddy. You're good.
When Warren heads over there, like, oh, hey. And he's like looking over and it's like, oh, we found a bug. We have a computer virus? No, it was an actual bug. It was nesting here in the function key. And then she goes, oh, I asked Carl to get it out because, you know, girls and bugs.
I mean, I think this joke lands better now than it probably did then. Because I think when Warren's like, a computer bug? A bunch of people did not know what that meant. You know what I mean? Like, this is like pre, like, hackers and stuff. So, like, I think the joke is funny and it works. But we're looking at that from a very modern lens. Or, like, I don't think people understood the idea of, like, a quote-unquote bug.
It's tough to go back and remember. I mean, like, I feel like I could never remember clearly enough, like, how much that term was used. It was a term still. But, yeah, whether or not it landed then, it's tough for me to say.
95 is such a weird time frame, right? Like, you're really right before everybody started to have computers. So I think that probably doomed the show a little bit. If this is 2 years later, maybe it lands. And, like, does a little better because people understand more of the lingo and what they're doing.
Perhaps. I mean, it's tough to say because
I don't know if that's true. I mean, I feel like it's so specific to a group of people at this time. Like, it really hasn't exploded yet, like, to the general public. Well, I mean, it has. I can't remember, honestly. We were 9 in 95.
Yeah, we were like 9 or 10 years old, so, yeah.
But shows like this aren't supposed to be, like, for the other nerds to be like, oh, look, those are our heroes. It's supposed to be for the normal people to go, look at these nerds, they're hilarious. Like, so you're not supposed to understand.
But they have to also feel like they have, like, at least a glimpse into what they're talking about, right? Otherwise, it's just gobbledygook that they don't understand, and that makes them turned off, you know?
Yeah, but again, like we talked about earlier, this isn't the start of nerds on television, so it's like it wasn't like we needed to have us catch up with what nerds are aware of for it to work, because that's kind of part of how this works, is they need to be a step above us in their knowledge. So if we catch up, it doesn't necessarily help.
You raise a good point. We mentioned Corey Feldman earlier in Stand By Me. The last scene of Stand By Me is the writing on the computer at the end of the story. It's like, my dad's in there. He's writing on the computer. He's always writing stuff on his computer. I'm like, I don't know. I watched that when I was 5 years old, and I was like, I understand this. You know what I mean? So I guess, you know, it's hard to go back and think of 30 years ago.
But yeah, Carl's stuck back there and he's like, well, okay, well, we got this done here. And he's trying to like, this is the part that's unneeded, right? He could walk away and then just explain the spreadsheet, send afterwards, but now he's trying to get her to send the spreadsheet while he's still back there to Warren while he's standing there in live time. And like, oh, yep, so you just want to press not that button. Like that whole thing was kind of unneeded.
He just needs to touch that button that she knows, of course.
And this is so much earlier than like digital forensics too, where like he's just gonna know what came through. He's not gonna know from what computer or who did it. You know what I mean? Like there's no logins, there's no like Okta or anything. Like it seems crazy to be like, just fucking press a button for it. It's no big deal.
So when that scene ends, it's weird. We flash forward and it's the next day, but I felt like it was later that day. It wasn't until like we're in the scene that I realized that it wasn't just a little flash forward to like an hour later.
I'm just realizing it now.
I am also realizing it now.
You said that and I was like, really?
Now they're getting on Carl. You lied to Warren. Well, you were standing right there in front of me. That's right. I was standing there while you were sitting and lying. He's going to find out. He probably already knows. He knows everything. That's when Carl's like, well, do you want her to leave? Because I don't. She helped me pick out a sport coat. So Carrie walks in and she goes, hey guys, listen, about what you did for me yesterday. I was lying in bed all night last night thinking about it. You were lying in bed thinking about us? So this is how we know that it was the next day.
Yeah, I never put two and two together.
But the way it looks visually, it was like, there should have been something there. I don't know. I feel like where they started the scene, it just felt like it was right after.
It's like, why is this the one time they don't do the transition with the computer screen?
Yeah.
I love the idea they do the transition for the next day and it's the calendar and you don't know what day they were on. So you're like, I guess that's tomorrow. I guess it's the 19th.
And she's telling them, I know how you guys feel about Warren and I know how hard it is for you to deceive him. And I just want to say thanks. And then Vic's like, when you were laying there thinking about us, what were you wearing?
Does that feel like the one step too far in the whole episode?
Panty raid.
Oh.
I wouldn't say one step too far. I would say if you look at like, especially these times, like in the next couple years, how like vulgar television was, if this is like the most outrageous thing that's said in the whole episode, I don't think it's that crazy.
That's fair. I guess in a modern lens, it feels weirder, but like,
I mean, if you look through the times. So
I don't think it's too vulgar. I think throughout the whole episode, if they were constantly hitting on her and like smitten over her, I know what's his name was earlier, but it didn't happen enough for that line to make sense. You know,
they're
what
not
I'm saying?
constantly just like, "Damn, she's so hot. Oh, one of us is gonna be with her." Like they don't make the play. Like they don't have a storyline here, like a side plot that like one of them is trying to eventually woo her, which would make more sense, right? I think Tobolowsky, like his whole thing is like we're friends. Like I don't think there's anything sexual there. Right?
no,
like,
he plays it pretty straight. But Vic's character, I'm not shocked at.
I think Vic should have been sleazy throughout the entire episode if they're gonna go that route.
Yeah, I think he should have been like making jokes about like, I was just down at the coffee shop. Like he make a joke about like any woman he sees sort of thing, like make him that character. I feel like they do like a 50-50 on him to like, you don't know quite what his character is going to be.
And then right after that, Todd walks in. Like, Todd, what's up? It's like, Warren just fired me. What? And Warren walks by and Carrie's like, Warren, can I talk to you? Well, I don't. Warren, it's not just, that. And Carrie says to him, don't bully me with your inarticulateness. She says, I would like a word. And then walks into his office. Why has Todd been fired? Because he made a stupid mistake and that cost me data. But he worships you. Well, now he gets to worship me from afar.
I thought he's just a gopher. What would he have to do with data?
Yeah, what's a mistake to make was the decaf
Yeah.
data filled? Yeah.
It felt like this wasn't explained well enough at all because it doesn't really make sense that they would even really interject with one another like in the office.
This character that's throughout the entire episode has been afraid to talk to people. Where would he find the balls to fire somebody? Feel like he'd be afraid to.
Yeah, he would make her do it because she's the office manager. Like that's the job, right? Like, hey, go fire this person and tell HR to stop their benefits. Like that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
And honestly, that's what should have happened. He should have called her in to say fire Todd, and then that could have led into this conversation.
Yeah, if there's a legit reason to fire Todd, and then she has this like conundrum with like oh, I need to get rid of Todd, but Todd's the only thing that's helping me like get away with like some of this computer stuff. Like that could work. But yeah, this whole like, yeah, he messed up, so he's fired.
Yeah, it feels like a very easy fix on the plot for Todd's character here.
Is Todd in future episodes? Have you guys looked ahead on that at all?
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so, but I'm not sure, yeah.
Because when this episode ends, he does not have his job back.
Well, it ends shaky. So she's saying, Warren, it's not just the four of you in a garage anymore. There's a lot of people working here that don't know as much as you guys about this stuff. I mean, God knows I'm no expert. Oh, who am I kidding? I can't even turn the damn thing on. And he's like, excuse me? I don't know the first thing about computers. They scare me to death. Oh, well, then you're fired too.
I do like that she finally, like, fesses up. I can't stand no mores, where she's like, I don't fucking get this, man. Like, I'm trying to do the best I can, but, like, I don't get computers. It would feel disingenuous to me if the next episode she was still being like, I don't want to tell Warren, I don't know how to turn the computer on. Like, that joke is too thin.
No, it's like Jay said earlier, though. That could have been the driving plot for the entire show. Finding ways for him not to find out she don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like. I felt like we're using this, what I thought the whole point of the show was. We're resolving in episode 1.
Yeah.
But then it becomes, well, this I didn't like because this was a little too specific. Wait a minute. Then how did you send that spreadsheet? Like how do you get the spreadsheet on my hard drive, whatever? And that's when they're freaking out. Like he knows, I knew he would know. And then Morley's like pointing to Carl. It was his idea. He did the lying. I was just standing. As everyone knows, standing is not lying. Like, dude, like, isn't this your buddy? Like, you threw him under the bridge like that quickly?
What's the nerd loyalty?
Yeah. I mean, like, nerd loyalty loses. I mean, he's obviously going to get another job at a different tech company if this happens, but he found somebody who can be a real friend. And I understand him taking the side of that real friend. You know what I mean? Because this fucking guy is just bouncing on a trampoline, giving him nothing. Like, he's given now, like, so much confidence he didn't have at the beginning of this episode. Where, like, he knows he can get another job at another tech company. At this time, as we discussed, right? Like, there was a billion. This is the tech bubble. This is the Office Space, like, intertrobe fucking, you can get a job as long as you know what you're doing time. And the game was to get stock and hope the company you were in got acquired. So, like, I would take her side, too. This guy's kind of a dickhead. Also, he drives a moped and he's an adult. Look, guys, if you're an adult and you drive a moped, that's a big red flag.
Careful in 2026. That's everywhere.
I was going to say, that's all of us not being able to afford cars next year. Like, guys, I'm taking my moped to Boston. Joe died on his way to Boston.
You have no idea how many of them I almost hit with my car per day.
I do want to get an electric bike.
I will say this about mopeds. I think the one that he drives, like the pooch kind, are really cool. Like 70s kind that kind of look like an old motorcycle mixed with a bike. But they're the ones now, like I might alienate some fans here, and I'm sorry if I do. They make some now that look like motorcycles, like you're on like a fucking chopper, but you can't go on the highway or on the road. You're in the bike lane going
Those
20
are hilarious,
in a chopper.
though.
And you know what, man? That's not a good look. If you have one, you should fucking sell it and buy a real something else, because it's really fucking hard to watch that.
I don't know. I mean, if like around town, like I wish you could ride like golf carts around. Just scoot around. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna take that up to Laconia though. Like.
I've seen it. I worked with like a whole gang of people who
they're on bike week and me.
To anyone listening, don't let Joe ruin your fun. If you want that, you go get one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Joe's just getting driven around by his wife with a tote bag, and
hey, I have a permit. Thank you.
Yeah, so do 1,015,000-year-olds.
Who are likely all better drivers than me. I'm doing the best I can. I'll be 40 in 2 days. Jesus Christ.
That's right, yeah.
So Warren goes, what are you talking about? And that's when Carl admits, I set up the spreadsheet for Carrie. I didn't want her to go. And then Vic steps up and goes, well, and takes off his sunglasses, revealing his eyes for the first time, goes, I didn't want her to go either. And then puts them back on, which I thought was a nice moment in the show because of the joke earlier.
Yeah, I think that was a smart touch.
That was his like sign of good faith,
Hey, you know who doesn't speak up, though? The dude who she went through all the trouble of bringing all the garage parts for.
No, yeah, he's a piece of shit. He's the one that threw Carl under the bus.
He's hiding in his oil-slicked little spot.
And Warren's like, you guys lied to me? You lied to me? And then Warren walks into his office. And then that's when she goes to follow him in. Juan, can I talk to you? And he's just jumping, and he like jumps away from her. Like when he asks, he's like, Juan, would you just stop bouncing for a minute? And he doesn't. So she eventually just gets up there with him and starts jumping with him. And that's when he's like, they lied to me. Like, they didn't do anything to you. They did something for me. And then it's like, well, why would they like you better than me? And then there's a pause, and he gets it. He's like, let me rephrase that. Why would they be disloyal to someone who's made them rich? And then it becomes like a whole like conversation of like, I don't know, like I guess they just saw someone they could go to lunch with and buy a new jacket with. And God knows, like, it doesn't sound like much, but they started enjoying themselves in a way that wasn't connected to a keyboard. And since I'm leaving anyways, with all due respect, you could go for a little bit of that too. He's like, what do you mean by that? Instead of all this bouncing around looking for a killer app, you could start talking to people, you know, start feeling something, anything. What makes you think I'm not feeling anything? I'm feeling something right now. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling bad that my best friends in the world deceived me. Your best friends? Did they know that? Well, she's like, look, now you're talking about your feelings, and that's not easy for you. It isn't easy for anyone, but it really is worth it in the end. Anyways, it was nice working for you. Don't go. Why not? I need you to stay. Really? Yes. As it happens, you embody the final frontier of home computing. And basically, we need to invent a program simple enough for people like you who are going to be able to use it. Like, oh, that's why you don't want me to go? Of course. Like, they're having this whole conversation, and it's kind of funny. Like, I get the whole, like, you need to learn to be better. I do feel like this is being forced too much in the first episode.
Yeah.
And also, isn't part of his genius his disconnect from the real world? Like, doesn't part of that, like, magic go away if you become more human?
I do understand though too, like, and look at what happened, right? Like, to make the money and to make this all work, you have to get regular people to understand computers. So if you have a regular person to use as a sounding board as to how to make this happen, that's only going to make the company more profitable, right? Like, make them more successful.
Does she get to keep her job title, or does she get a new job title now they know that she knows nothing about computers?
Head of norms. It's like, okay, thank you.
Well, it's like, maybe it's my confusion, but like, job of office manager, isn't that like more just making sure everyone else is doing their job?
Yeah.
So like, she shouldn't.
And apparently it's sending spreadsheets.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get, because I feel like that's not supposed to be part of her job.
No, that's
like
not
secretary work.
I mean, not even that's usually an executive assistant, right? Like somebody who's part of, or a team who's IT or whatever. Like, EAs usually run the day-to-day life though of a person, so like they would send spreadsheets, they would have access to that stuff, they would know how to get to it. I think now we're looking at it too in a world where like there's so many checks and balances to get access to all this data that, you know, people are gonna, it's not gonna be the same as it was then, which I think now is kind of funny, because you're like, there are so many holes in the security of that where it's like, tell the person who doesn't know how to use computers to send us spreadsheets with all our fucking money info on it. It's like, that's not a good idea, probably.
And then this basically closes out with, all right, I'll stay, but in order for me to do that, I'm going to need something from you. What? I need a hug.
This bitch, it should have been rehired Todd. How the fuck she went in there to help Todd?
I think it's assumed that Todd gets to keep the job. I think.
I don't assume.
I assume we're assuming that Todd gets his job back. But I do like the ending on the line of like, I want a hug, I'll give you more money. That doesn't work, by the way. I've tried that before. It does not work.
She's chasing him on the trampoline, and he's just jumping away because he doesn't want to give her a hug.
Do we assume that this office is on top of the Susan B. Anthony Hotel?
Sure.
Can we retcon this into, is Tom Hanks somewhere below?
I would be upset if you're on any floor that's not the first floor if you have someone jumping on a trampoline all day. Imagine being right below that.
Well, I mean, the springs kind of take all the noise.
I don't know. I've lived in apartment buildings. You can have thick walls and thick floors, but you still hear people above you having sex.
Yeah, but this is an office building. It's not an apartment.
I still think a giant trampoline is a little bit of a, well, I guess, who knows?
Well, if they're in San Francisco, they do build the buildings a little thicker for earthquake, right? So,
by the way, as somebody who owned a trampoline, I guarantee this took at least like 5 takes, because he definitely, during the chase, accidentally double bounced her and sent her flying.
Knocked her out of the room, yeah.
Her knees just whack her head.
And a paramedic came and said, is she hurt?
But yeah, that concluded the episode. But my thing is, like, again, like, I think that's a fine way to end the episode. And it's like fun. And she's chasing after him on the thing, looking for a hug. He doesn't want to touch her. He'd rather give her money. That's fine. My issues are, like I said earlier, I just don't think we should have resolved some of these issues. We shouldn't be trying to make him more human and exposing that she doesn't know anything about computers. I think that should have been a more long-term story. Because it could have been a funny gag, them all, like, covering from her at all times.
They could have dedicated an episode to each of them covering for her. Like,
or just all of them all the time rotating and just between Todd and the other three guys. I just think like that would have been the thing. Like we build up to a way bigger reveal down the line.
Devil's advocate though, to like your first point, we don't know that. To your second point, sure, we know that's obviously not the way it goes because we've seen the pilot, but
well, see, Exposure doesn't know anything about computers. He already knows it. Like we know that.
Right, but I can see it as a plot point for each character to have her reveal it to them and have them have their specialty with computers be a way that like helps her understand more to like get her better at her job.
They all know too.
I understand that, but I'm saying like Corey Feldman might know something different than.
Sure, but I think the whole thing was hiding it from Warren. You know what I mean? Which we have now already blown.
Right, we're past that, but like I still think they can do the thing where it's like I don't know how to do that. Like, okay, so we know that Toblo knows spreadsheets. What can we do the same gag with everyone else for their different specialties? I think you'd still do that.
We have to learn what each of them like brings to the table, which oddly it wasn't covered here. We just know we have three nerds and we don't know what any of them really do, which I think is kind of maybe something that should have been like addressed in this episode is maybe
I'm the spreadsheet nerd. Yeah, like give a little bit of so we can push that into the new episodes. Yeah,
like what are their jobs? Do they have the same job? Do they have different jobs?
Yeah, like, I do finance. Like, yeah, you can like make expectation to the next storylines by those things.
But yeah, with all that being said, I mean, there's not really much else to talk about with the show. There's not like a lot out there. It's kind of it came and went. There wasn't a lot of a lot going on with it. Like you said, it lasted all of a few months before it went away.
42 days. Yeah, so what's that? 7 weeks?
Sure,
6 weeks.
So I guess there's really not much else to talk about. So we might as well get into the greenlight or cancel. Reminder: Gordo's not here, so depending on how this scores out, his score might be the make or break. Go to S1E1pod.com. That'll have the links to our social medias where that graphic will be shown later on once we know his vote. So with that being said, Joe, starting with you.
I weirdly really enjoyed this. I was surprised, and I think that if I'm going to just give like a blanket, like would you greenlight or cancel it, just giving the plot to would you watch this and having somebody who has no idea say yes. You're like, okay. And then going, oh, also it's Stephen Tobolowsky. It's a guy from Newhart and Bosom Buddies, right? Like there's all these people in it. I got some genuine laughs out of it. I think there's some obvious issues here. Some gremlins in the wiring. I think there's some things that are just not fucking funny, but it would be hard for me to say I wouldn't watch a second episode of this. I wish I could in a way better resolution, right? Like it's just hard because it's really fucking fuzzy. I'd also really like if anybody can steer me towards, was that a Winnie the Pooh t-shirt or not? I've been holding on to this for 2 days where I'm like, is he wearing a Pooh and Piglet shirt? I need to fucking know this. So Tut Tut looks like rain. It's a green light for me.
Berg.
When we cover shows like this, I realize just how different our opinions are and our tastes in shows, because you all seem to like this show. I thought this was terrible. The show walked so Big Bang Theory could run and be unfunny. Just did not do it for me. I thought the writing was poor. I thought things were solved too fast. Thought it made problems that didn't need to exist just for the plot. Didn't do it for me. I like all the actors in this show, but I don't like how anything was done. So it is a cancel for me.
Nick.
There is plenty wrong with this show, but there is almost an undescribable urge to keep watching it for me because Stephen Tobolowsky, I love him. He's great. I would watch pretty much anything he's in. That's a huge factor in this. I don't like Corey Feldman. I don't like him in this show. I would love it if it was somebody else. I feel like somebody else could do a better job, and I think the rest of the cast is actually really good. Like I said at the top of the episode, I'm surprised that I'm not surprised this show got canceled. I'm surprised it got canceled so quickly. It was up against some big TV at the time, so that can be the problem sometimes. But for as much shit as we kind of gave this show, I'm gonna greenlight it ultimately because it was just kind of a fun, goofy watch, and I enjoyed it. It has a lot of red flags for sure. It misses checking a lot of boxes too, but ultimately, in the same vein as Joe, I kind of just wanted to keep watching it. I would love to just sit down and watch a good quality season of this show. I think it could be good. There's a lot of potential. If that's the way we're doing it, whether or not we want to see the next one, then yeah, I have to greenlight this.
Yeah, I'm also giving it the green light. I thought it was. Listen, there was a lot of flaws here. It could have been written a lot better, but I think the characters drove the show, and I think it was well casted, and it was enough for me to get it kept me alert, and I watched it. Yeah, could this show be a lot better? Absolutely, but if I was sitting down and this was on, and then the next episode was on, and I would watch it. I wouldn't turn it off. Ultimately, it was enough for me to want to keep going. Yeah, and I really don't have much else to say. It's just it was what it was. It was good enough. But yeah, I'd be curious to at least watch the next episode. So with that in mind, that's at least 3. So we're giving it the green light. Congratulations to Dweebs. Thank you to Leanne who suggested the episode. Like I said, she brought it up a year ago. Was awarded this chance to pick an episode through Fanuary. So kind of got to skip the line of we'll put it in a long list of episodes that we'll look at. We try to do fan picks when we can. Yeah, thanks again for that. And thank you to everyone who listened. I want to remind you guys, S1E1pod.com is where you can go to find all the links to our social media. Rate, review, subscribe, do all that stuff. Shoot us a message, talk to us. You guys, it doesn't have to be Fanuary. That's just a way to expedite it. Just let us know shows you want us to do. And we do give them a look when we can. But yeah, that's it for now. Until then, we'll see you next week with another new episode. Thank you. Goodbye.
Ooh, I think we got the best Corey Feldman. Casper.